The sun was dipping low over the vast, barren desert, painting the sky with streaks of gold and amber. John, a rugged cowboy with a sharp gaze and weathered hands, rode slowly along the dusty trail. He had lived his life chasing cattle and surviving the harsh plains. But something about this evening felt different. Ahead of him, a young woman named Emma stood, dressed in a modest lace-collared dress. Her eyes wide with fear and determination locked onto John as he approached. She was alone, or so she thought, her heart pounding, as the distant sound of hooves echoed. Across the desert, suddenly 5 mounted riders appeared in the distance, kicking up clouds of dust. They were armed and relentless, moving with intent that made the air tense and electric. John stepped closer to Emma, placing a protective hand on her waist. "Stay close," he whispered, his voice calm but firm. "I won't let them get to you." Emma clutched his vest, feeling both terrified and oddly safe. The desert stretched endlessly around them, but in that moment, nothing else existed but the two of them. As the riders closed in, John prepared himself. His hands were steady on his revolver, his eyes sharp. He wasn't about to let danger claim this woman who had somehow captured his heart. With a sudden burst, John spurred his horse forward, pulling Emma along. Dust swirled around them like a curtain, and the desert became a stage for their struggle. Danger, courage, and an unexpected spark of attraction that neither could deny. By the time they reached a small outcrop of rocks, the riders had slowed, hesitant to approach. John held Emma close, their faces inches apart. "You're safe now," he said softly, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Emma's heart raced, the adrenaline of escape mixing with a warmth she hadn't felt before. In the quiet of the desert, their story had just begun. The night fell quickly over the desert, and the stars shone like diamonds above the lonely plains. John and Emma found shelter in a small, abandoned cabin tucked behind a rocky ridge. The wind whispered through the cracks in the walls, carrying the scent of sagebrush and distant fires. Inside, they sat close together by a small lantern. Emma shivered, not from the cold, but from the memory of the danger they had just escaped. John wrapped his coat around her shoulders, his hand lingering gently. "I've lived a long life out here," he said, voice low, "but I've never met anyone like you." Emma looked into his eyes, feeling a connection that transcended words. "And I've never been protected like this," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Days passed, and the desert became their witness. They rode together, hunted for food, and shared stories by the fire each night. The rugged landscape tested them but also drew them closer. Each sunset reminded them of the fragility of life and the importance of holding on to what truly matters. By the time the riders returned, those who had chased them, they